All right, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of The Nerds Who Rock Jays. I am your host, LK the God, the Deity, the Mogul. I'm here with some very, very good friends of mine. I'm here with C Jizzle, live from Liberty Sizzle, aka Puffco Poppy. What we puffing on
What's
today,
up?
dog?
It was some Siberian peach cake, live resin, True Leaf, that was just consumed, and it is feeling out the effects right now. It's feeling pretty good.
I
Nice
can see
nice
that.
indica.
I can see that. I can see that. Next, we had doom 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 doom. It's pimp juice. It's the beat the pimp juice.
No, I know.
We have
I know. I'm not doing it today. I'm not pimp juice.
Do it. You have to do it.
Nah, man, I'm protesting today, bro. Just because I got a look, y'all. I got a Band-Aid on my face. I'm aware of this. It's a pimple. It was actually 3 pimples, 1 pop. It won't stop, so I had to put a Band-Aid on it. Can't do a podcast with my face leaking on camera. So this is the only size Band-Aids I got. I got a toddler. Sorry.
It's all right, man. You make it look great. Make it look good.
Right.
Next, we have Ivan Van Schnubida. Bubsy Wubsy.
You find a new way to incorrectly pronounce that every episode.
Bubsy Wubsy, engineer and artist extraordinaire. I'm sorry. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm ready to get into it, my man. Glad to be here.
Yes. You guys know why you're here. You know what you tuned in for. We're talking Spider-Man. No Way Home today. All right. Off rip. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to do non-spoilers first for a little while. Then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to get nasty. So, non-spoilers. How did you guys like the movie? Initial thoughts?
This is by far top 3 Marvel standalone movies. Top 3. This was it.
That's aggressive. Can you go more into that, please?
By far, standalone movies, excluding the Avengers, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, excluding those and just standalone characters themselves, right? This is like top 3 by far, if not my number 1 possibly.
Well, that is a topic we do have on the list, everybody. Any more initial thoughts from you, KB?
No, that's how I feel about it, man. This is a great movie. 5 stars. I give it now that I'm looking back at it again, this is getting a 9.5 out of 10. This was well done.
All right. Bubsy Wubsy?
I definitely it's up there for me because of what they were doing a lot with the direction, and we could talk more about that later. But I love it primarily because the one thing that I'm getting from this at the end of the day is that they are listening to the audience. They might not hear every single thing that we say, but this wasn't a Spider-Man film. This was homage to the people who love Spider-Man. That's how I felt about it. It definitely, I agree with Sith Lord over there. It's easily my top, in one of my tops of standalone Marvel movies. When you put it like that, definitely. Yeah, it definitely deserves it. It could have been perfect. That actually got it knocked down a point or two because there are some things I know we're going to talk about, but it's up there.
All right, let's go to C Jizzle.
Deliver the goods. I mean, it delivered everything I love to hate about these movies. When you want to criticize, is it a great film? Does it stand alone as a great film? No, but like Bubba said, it's a love letter to people who love all the Spider-Man films since the Raimi trilogy. So if you don't know anything about Spider-Man, this movie's not for you. It's just not for you. I'm sorry. I'm not about to explain who the octopus guy is and we're it's just not for you, this movie. So yeah, it's good. I gave it a 9.2 out of 10. I think it delivered everything. I wish we didn't live in spoiler culture where everyone tried to sniff out everything about this movie, but you know, I wish I went into it completely blind, like knowing nothing. Like I'm gonna just start avoiding trailers and things from now on, but it still delivered everything. I was completely satisfied, and it was like the first movie in a long time that felt like a movie like pre-COVID, like an event, like people like
Yeah.
lit in the theater and hype and like jumping up and screaming, and people sobbing later in the theater. Like it was a full experience.
It's
I
like
love
Black Panther or Sonic.
I definitely gave it a 9.2 myself. I did like it. You know, I do have certain nitpicks about it, but I have nitpicks about everything. So CJ, let's go to your CJ's plane landing sequence. What happened up there, man?
It was a rocky start to the flight, understandably, because I think they had to set up a lot and they had to kind of like undo what started in the last movie. And like, we'll get more into the details of that and spoilers, but like initially behind the scenes, this was supposed to be a Craven the Hunter movie, and as you see, a lot changed from that. So like they had to do a whole 180 from the end of their last movie to set up this movie. So they had a lot to do in the first act, and it was a little messy, and they had to cut some corners and do some things, but the end result, man, that plane landed nice and smooth. Like it paid off in the end. Like I said, it wasn't a perfect ride, but damn, it was a good flight. It was satisfying. It was nice and smooth at the end. It got better the longer you were in the air.
Now, CJ, I will ask you, how would you judge the plane landing sequence for the whole trilogy? Then we're going to judge the trilogy among other superhero trilogies.
Just for me personally, I mean, I think yeah, if this lands the plane on the trilogy, this is one of the most solid trilogies of any trilogy that you can say for any superhero. I actually like don't really care for the second one that much. It's like it's all right for me, but it's not bad by any means. Like I wasn't not entertained. It just like didn't stand out, didn't blow me away. The first one I like a lot, and this one I like a lot. So like, I mean, that's 2 out of 3 like greatness for me, and then one of them is just like that's pretty good. That was all right. So I mean, to me, that's a pretty solid trilogy. You know, even if we're comparing it to like Toby or even the Bale Batman movies, there's always like one dud-ish one. Maybe one's not like a
Yeah.
complete dud, but it doesn't hold up to the other ones.
So I think what the consensus is Spider-Man. The second run, what was it? Shit, they're all the same name. Far From Home. Is that the weakest Spider-Man in this trilogy?
In my opinion, it is. I don't
So
think it's a
is
bad movie
that
though.
so is that dud stronger than like the dud in another trilogy? Like it's a high dud.
Nah, I think it like Spider-Man Far From Home to me falls like right in where their Marvel average is, like a 7.5. Like it's not bad, but it's just like it just didn't do a lot for me. Like the whole Mysterio thing, and like it just didn't do it wasn't memorable. Like the Vulture, I really like what they did with like leaning into the high school training wheels beginner Peter Parker, and like that's really been what this whole trilogy's been. And we can talk more about that in spoilers too, that how they kind of set this up and where it's going, and you know how they've left it off.
Yeah. Okay. How do you guys feel about this trilogy versus other superhero trilogies? You know, you got
Um,
Wolverine, you got Iron Man, you got Thor, you got Cap,
I'm,
you got
I'm conflicted
Batman.
about this one primarily because kind of what Puffco Poppy said over there. I wasn't a huge fan of the second one. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I was actually never a fan of the Tom Holland Spider-Man. This one was the one that actually made me kind of start liking him more than Andrew Garfield, Toby for life. But in regards of trilogies, this one's difficult for me because this trilogy would not be good. It wouldn't be bad, but it wouldn't be good without this movie. If this movie didn't exist, if they did anything other like what they did with this movie, this trilogy would have been just as a lot like as like the Iron Man trilogy. Um,
Mm.
Personally, yeah, I know, hot topic. But personally, it's kind of it's hard for me to judge it based on that because it's not about a trilogy. It's really just the strength of one movie. So as a trilogy, I'll probably give it like a 7.
What was you going to say, KB? Feel like you're gearing up to say something?
You might mute.
Muted.
I knew that. As far as the trilogy goes, this is. I mean, I'm kind of. It's up there, but it's not up there because, like CJ said, the second movie, it really wasn't all that great. Mysterio wasn't all that memorable, and he's Mysterio, and it was kind of lame. I'm sorry. It really, actually, I didn't really like that movie. So if it wasn't for that one, this trilogy series would have probably been a whole lot higher for me. But I don't know. I really don't know now that I think about it. Because you look at other trilogies and it's just like, but are they actually way better too? The Thor trilogy, the second one sucked. Iron Man, the second and third one were terrible. What Captain America was probably the only good.
Nobody liked the first one. Didn't
That
nobody
first
like
one was mid.
That's what I'm saying. There's not really, and then the Dark Knight. That's not really what 2 was the best. 1 was good. 3 was,
1 was good. I give 1 a good solid good.
Yeah.
I just remember 3 being so long. I was just in the movie theater like, bro, this movie is like going on forever, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Majority.
Yes, it's the one with the red truck. It's got a red mailbox.
Majority of these.
Steps. Cool, thank you.
Majority of these trilogy movies aren't really all that great to begin with. Like, if it's not 1 dud, it's 2 duds. So I mean,
well, it's.
I guess.
I feel like it's difficult to do a good trilogy movie, and kind of like the point that we were talking about this in a different conversation earlier. What makes a really good trilogy movie, one of the reasons why the Matrix trilogy was so good, is planning, like careful forethought. And I feel like that doesn't exist in a lot of trilogies. A lot of times it's just they made a lot of money with one, they made enough money to make another one, so they just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I take that back. The only good is that considered a trilogy? Is the Avengers movies considered trilogies?
I guess you could, yeah.
Because wasn't Civil War a Captain America movie?
Yeah, that was a Cap movie.
Yeah.
It's Captain America.
It just depends on if you want to be technical. Like, if you want to be technical, then yeah. And if you don't, then no. But
because it just goes Avengers. Oh no, that's 4 movies.
Well,
yeah, Age of Ultron. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 4 movies. Yeah.
Never mind. But if you want to go like a series of films for superheroes, then I guess nothing's topping Avengers. But other than that, Spider-Man isn't really. Trilogy movies aren't really just all that great. So all of them are probably like every trilogy movie is probably like a 7.8, and then the Avengers.
And then the Avengers like shit.
Yeah, because that's really it. It really is.
All right. Are we ready for non-spoilers?
You mean for spoilers?
What we didn't. I mean, spoilers.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm ready because we got enough.
All right.
If you ain't seen the movie, this is your chance to bounce.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This is your spoiler warning. This is your official spoiler warning. If you did not watch Spider-Man No Way Home, you're going to know a lot about it. All right, let's start. KTLO. KTLO is who kept the lights on for you in this movie. It's who had the best performance, who delivered the best lines, the best action, the best, who kept the lights on for you. Do we all have the same answer?
I think it can only be one answer, even though there are a lot of good performances in this movie.
This one's difficult for me.
Green Goblin.
It's gotta be. I love Andrew. Andrew, he brought it though. Like I'm a Andrew Garfield fan, but like.
Yeah, he put up some numbers. He put up some numbers. This was a 45-point game for Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, hear me out. hear me out. I don't want to classify Spider-Man as like, Toby, Andrew, and Tom. I mean, yeah, Toby, Andrew, and Tom. I want to classify like Spider-Man as like their interaction between all three of them. Because if that's the case, then that, like, bro, that entire afterwards, how they just interacted, like no matter what it was, their interactions were just great. Like that made the movie spectacular.
Spectacular Spider-Man. I see what you did there.
Exactly, like that. No. Because I had to think about what Toby said. Exactly, like the Amazing Spider-Man, like homage to the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but like it's still cheesy and it's still funny. Like, bro, their lines took a lot, bro. Like they were funny. Like they were like, that's witty. Like, oh man, like that is something that they would say to each other. Like they're just all nerds. Like Andrew's over here crying that all he did was fight a Russian guy in a rhino suit. Tom's like, yeah, I've been to space, and everybody's like so impressed. And he's like, nah, bro, you're okay. You're an amazing Spider-Man. And then boom, son, comedy. It was great. But yeah, Green Goblin did keep the lights on, bro.
What was your answer, Bubba? Because you said you were conflicted.
Oh, I didn't. Did I say anything yet? For me, and I'm not trying to be contrarian, but for me, it was actually Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange had a lot of moments that were just so realistic and true to his character. I like that they made him curse. I like that he, I can't remember his name, but his performances through his movies have been pretty stalwart. It hasn't really changed that much. And I love his interactions with Peter. I love that, he's looking at him like, yo, you're like, probably one of my favorite scenes with him in the entire movie was something that I feel like would happen in real life, where he was like, yo, you literally came to me before you even called them and pleaded your case. And his reaction to that, it was amazing for me. I love Willem Dafoe being in this movie. I'm not saying that he had a bad performance, but for me, it was easily Strange. I am a Strange fan, so I might be a little biased. But what's even worse is like right after that, it's still not even Green Goblin. Right after that, it's actually Dr. Octavius and then Jamie Foxx.
Damn.
Whoa.
I'm rating this based off of who I'm enjoying the most.
I might be tripping, but did he say Willem the fuck? Did he say that? Or was he talking too fast?
No,
okay.
No,
all right,
this man said Jamie Foxx over Willem Dafoe.
As a fellow Doctor Strange. As a fellow Doctor Strange fan, I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with you. I think he got done dirty. He got done pretty dirty in this movie.
He got fridged.
Yeah, like that was one of my complaints actually. That Doctor Strange got done pretty dirty in this movie, in my opinion.
He didn't have a lot of time. Yes, he didn't have a lot of time. But what time that he was on screen, he was magnetic.
Like, he was like the police that shows up in like horror films. Like, oh, is everybody okay? Well, the movie's over now. Thanks a lot for your help. That's what he did after everybody died. What was you about to say, CJ?
No, I was just saying, like, there are a few reasons I felt like he was done dirty. One, like he wouldn't lose a fight to Peter Parker, dog. Like, he's a wizard. Ain't no amount of geometry is Spider-Man about to defeat Doctor Strange. Like, I'm sorry, bro.
I wish I could
launch Spider-Man into another universe. Like,
we need a soundboard for that one.
I got one. He got to enable his sound. He has to enable his
a whole audio also, of an audience.
Thing, like, Doctor Strange is shown to be like a little reckless among wizards, but I don't think he's gonna be like, I'm gonna wreck the universe for this teenager's like arbitrary request that he like you said turned into a joke. Like, you didn't even call them. Like, you're gonna like break the multiverse because like you don't feel like explaining to your best friend that you're Spider-Man again. Like, you could have just ran the original spell, sat fucking Ned, MJ, and Aunt May in the same room and been like, I'm Spider-Man. Movie over. Problem solved. You didn't have to do none of this dumb shit. And I feel like, although Peter might be dumb enough to do this shit because he's in high school, I don't feel like Doctor Strange would have been like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do this super dangerous spell. And like, because you want to get into MIT. Like, bro, like this is a flimsy premise to start this movie on. You lucky it got really lit on the back half. And like I said, if they did land the plane, but that's what I was alluding to when I was like, this is a rocky get up. And I understand why they had to do some of the things behind the scenes, because this was not supposed to be this movie to start. So the first act is a whole pivot from whatever the fuck you were going to do to this awesome movie that we got. So the first act was going to be a little messy, but yeah, I think it definitely, Doctor Strange took a hit, and I felt like he got it done dirty for the sake of plot convenience.
Well, speaking of Doctor Strange actually taking an L to Spider-Man, Spider-Man in turn takes a El Nino to Green Goblin.
First of all, I want to comment on how many times someone got hit with a spine buster in this goddamn movie, bro. I have never seen, dog. I felt like I was in a WWE match. I mean, a WWE arena right now, bro. Spider-Man got spine busted at least like 6 times. I saw a power bomb at one point, and I was just like, geez.
Yeah.
Jeez. Like, god damn, bro. My back hurt at the end of all that, man. Like,
and then they just kept doing it too. They was doing it to everybody. Like,
dog.
The fuck got some, Spider-Man got some. Who else got tackled? Fucking Reptile got some.
Dog, fucking Spider-Man got spine busted through 3 stories, man. 3 stories in the apartment.
There were definitely, you bring up something that also, I don't know if we're ready to lean into this. Even though this movie was good, there was a lot of indiscrepancies, like a stupid amount of indiscrepancies. Like, you know, we were sitting in the theater and I was talking to Nick, and Nick looked at me and he was like, was Norman Osborn always as strong as the Kingpin? Like, since when can you even take a punch from Spider-Man? Like, that was the reason that you had that. You are a human who's extremely smart, who figured out how to do these things. You should not be able to, you know, like, Spider-Man is like strong enough. You know, what is Spider-Man like? Either way, he's super strong. One punch from him should be able to like destroy someone's face, right? And Norman over here smiling and laughing about it and knocking this man through buildings. That was a little odd. That was.
They've always done that though. They've all because this Tom and Tom's Spider-Man hasn't even been all that strong, so to speak. He hasn't like demonstrated anything that really, besides the boat, like, you know, holding that. Was that it? Did he do something else?
Nah,
pretty much.
He lifted the building off himself in the first movie.
You said what?
He lifted the building off himself in the first movie. I mean, so it's like he's shown to be pretty strong. But the Green Goblin in the Raimi movies was shown to be strong as fuck, though. That serum makes him strong. So I say when they cure him, maybe when he's cured, he might not have that super strength. But yeah, even when he's wearing the Power Ranger helmet, he's pretty strong for some reason.
I looked up the powers for the Goblin serum. It definitely has super strength, endurance, agility, speed, all that, you know, the cocktail of Captain America shit.
Spider-Man would have been killed his ass if he didn't have all that. Like, yeah, I'm sure the Goblin definitely has super strength, but
in all honesty, Spider-Man should have, like, technically, Spider-Man should have been killed his ass anyway, in my opinion. But I mean, they power down everyone in the MCU.
Yeah, not to mention there was. I mean, my favorite indiscrepancy was the, and I know why they did it like this. This is just you got to keep a film moving forward. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, in all of these movies, they literally just decided to solve the problem that all of these movies had over the course of a afternoon at a college laboratory that just happens to have all the ingredients for every single cure, and all the Spider-Men just happen to know how to do this right now. Like,
I've been thinking about this for years, head ass. That's what they did.
That was just, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it, but I will acknowledge, like, that is just movie
that was
writing.
The power of friendship. It was the power of friendship.
Yeah, it's also like a super awful plan. It's like, you're gonna just bring them niggas in the house. You don't want to do this like one at a time. You're just gonna release all of them and just have them in the apartment with you.
Dumbest gosh
access to all this technology. Sure, like, okay.
He just walked 4 supervillains in his apartment, just trying to rehab all of them. Oh, they could be good guys. You can't just say they're bad. Okay, all right. One of them killed 1,000 people with a son. He made a cruel son. He thought he was Escanor.
And he could have kept all of them in their cages. Like, hey, one at a time. Strange was already hovering over, you know, the Grand Canyon for like all of the movie.
Yeah.
You could have easily had that done in all of like an hour.
For real. Strange could have did this whole movie by itself. Spider-Man could have just stayed somewhere else. Like Doctor Strange really could have just solved this whole thing by himself. He didn't need Spider-Man's help.
Yeah, Spider-Man messed up more than anything. Like for real, Strange would have just had an easier job if he just handled it himself. Spider-Man was the one fucking up. Like let's rehabilitate these murderers in like one afternoon, like you said. Like it's like I buy that that's a good plan if you had a lot of time, but like the multiverse is like exploding right now. Send these niggas back, bro. Like let
Exactly.
the universes deal with this. And he's just like,
it was easily something that I appreciated and was annoyed by, because I love when characters actually are like their characters. Like, you know, it's something that reminded me that this is the youngest Spider-Man we've ever seen on screen. I was having this conversation, I can't remember, I think it might have been with you, Hook, but this is the only high school Spider-Man we've ever seen, right? Like Andrew Garfield's was his senior year, and then Toby was also his senior year. This is easily like he, you know, after these 3 years it's happened, he's just trying to apply to college. We first met Tom Holland when he was just at his junior year in high school, so he's really young and really stupid. And I'm not giving him a pass, but it's annoying to watch, but it makes sense for the character. He's really a young, dumb kid, and that's also why I like the way the movie ended, because they're finally giving us, you know, the classic Spider-Man time period, going to college, growing up.
All right. What happened after the Green Goblin for Spider-Man was Aunt May's death, and then we have to talk about the Matt Murdock reveal. So Aunt May dies. How do we feel?
I have some issues. Like I don't want to be that guy, and like, but like when someone broke this down to me, I had no rebuttal to it, and I was like, man, it wasn't. It's like Aunt May basically got fridged in this movie, and she had like no agency other than to die to further Peter's plot. And like I understand what they're doing, making her the Uncle Ben of this origin, but it's like I wish Aunt May had like a little bit more to do before she died. Like, god damn, like this is the youngest Aunt May we had. Their story's done, son. It was just like, I guess Marissa Tomei didn't want to be in these movies anymore, so we're just gonna. So I was like, I mean, but now Peter's, like you said, he's on his own, but like he can't got no Aunt May now. Like, god damn, it's kind of dark. Like he usually at least has Aunt May, like, and it's just like, damn, Aunt May is dead off jump, son. So I just thought that was a decision because someone major had to die to pull the heartstrings and to keep the plot going. But I was like, I mean, you could have used Happy for this. I mean, you could have used anyone, but like, I just thought it was a little early to do Aunt May like that, especially when she didn't have much else to do in the movie other than to literally just die.
Aunt May died because this Peter didn't have Uncle Ben. That's the only reason why Aunt May died.
None of them did. Or
I see what you did there. That's terrible. You're
terrible.
What?
Wow.
What he's saying? You know what he's saying. You know what he's saying.
Come on.
Oh,
bro.
okay.
You're a bad person.
Wow. Were you waiting for that? Did I set you up? Like, geez. Damn. But that was good. But damn, that was fast. But yeah, this Peter didn't have an Uncle Ben to lose, so they killed Aunt May. That's how I feel about that.
That's what started his huge heroes.
Yeah, that's what I was telling somebody, like Toby lost Uncle Ben and Harry. Andrew lost Gwen and Uncle Ben. Now, you know, Tom Holland loses, he loses everybody literally, but he loses Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
And his Uncle Tony. That was his Uncle Ben.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, CJ. All right, Matt Murdock reveal. How do we feel?
Fuck yeah, that's that shit that I was waiting for.
We're canon, baby.
Yeah,
coolest 20 seconds I've ever seen in a film.
It actually, like, they actually used it to cover a plot hole, and I'm gonna just forgive him for that because it was just like that was a really convenient way to get Peter out of legal trouble really fast in like one scene and have people not give a fuck about it, like their brushed over explanation. Like, aren't you like the most wanted person in the world? Like,
it just went away.
It just went away. It's over. I did the legal mumbo jumbo. I'm Daredevil. Focus on that. And everybody's like, yeah. Just like, I wasn't even listening to the legal explanation of how you got this man out of that crazy legal predicament in like 48 hours or something, and just like, all right, you're no longer like the most wanted kid in like all of America. It's like,
All
okay.
of the world. All of the world.
Well, honestly, I
Basically,
thought
yeah,
it was
the
one of those
world.
things where he was kind of still being supervised, and like, because like in those situations, like you can get bail and your trial could take up to years. That's kind of what I just assumed it was going to be.
Nah,
You know,
he
it's
said
like,
you're off, bro. He said the only thing you got
Oh,
to
he
worry
did.
about is the court of public opinion. And I was like, God damn, like what kind of paperwork did he submit? He's like, I got
Yeah, dog.
Well, I would like to point out that he's white. All right, 3
Wow.
Spider-Men.
You're going to be that guy?
Three- 3 Spider-Men, everybody.
Jeez.
We get the triumvirate. 3 KB hasn't looked at me since we started.
Yo,
all right.
Somebody get this man, bro. Like,
what?
Jeez.
What?
This, you know, the only thing worse than that was in the theater. This guy nudges me and he goes, "You know how they say everybody gets one? When Aunt May died, this man goes, every Spider-Man loses one." I'm like, what the fuck?
What they do?
they do though, like
They do.
Sheesh.
What?
So part of Spider-Man's mythos, like he be losing stuff, and like they one more date him. They did like the worst comic ever. It's like, oh, are you happily married?
Someone has to die.
Let's take that from him. The devil's
Someone
gonna
has
take
to
his
die.
marriage. Like,
Bro, I'm afraid to watch further Miles Morales films. At this
His
point.
sperm is gonna kill his wife.
yes,
Someone has to die.
They did that. Like that's a Spider-Man comic.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
That was a thing. Someone has to die for Spider-Man to become Spider-Man. Just like, just like Doctor Strange. Something traumatic has to happen for him to, the What If episode. Yeah.
It's quality episode.
I would like to point out that soggy ass way of them doing a whole with great power comes great responsibility line. That was a little soggy. Like,
also, I didn't get my meme.
No,
you got
almost.
You got the meme.
Almost.
You got the meme. It wasn't perfect, but you got it. We got it. Everyone knows what that moment is.
No.
You didn't get the meme. You got a GIF. You got a GIF. That's what you got.
No, it's not the same because Toby and Andrew already talked to each other and then they were already a team. So it's basically one-on-one when they went to go talk to each other. So it's basically like Tom pointing to those two and then just those two pointing to Tom. It's not all three of them pointing at each other. Like, come on, man. No, I did not get my meme. And no Miles, no 10.
I feel like Miles deserves his own movie, man. He deserves his own shine. He doesn't deserve to be just a cameo.
That's what I'm saying. Give me a cameo, like 10 seconds, something. Hint that Miles is here.
Yeah, they gave Murdoch 20 seconds. They could have gave us like even when Strange opened up the sky, they could have just had Miles like swing through, like, oh, what's going on here? Like that would have been nice. That would have been nice.
I think Spider-Man, since Tom Holland already got his trilogy, I think they're going to use them the same way they used Iron Man and Thor and Hulk, like make them like a vehicle to bring in other, bring in other characters. Then that could be for Miles. Like, we already had 3 Spider-Man. We already did the fucking impossible of digging up Tobey Maguire and digging up not Tom Holland, but Andrew Garfield, and putting CGI on them to make them look like they didn't age a bit.
They did not use enough.
So how do you ramp it up from that? Like, you gotta do Miles.
I feel like you can do Miles, and I feel like that's cool. I'm down to see a live action Miles, even though I'm cool with him just like leading these dope ass Spider-Verse movies too, and just like doing that. Like, I'm cool with that, but they've set it up. But when we're talking about where it's going, I feel like you don't ramp it up from here. You can't get bigger than multiverse and Tobey Maguire and all this. Like, you don't get bigger. You go smaller. We're now at a street level Spider-Man again. He doesn't have Stark Tech. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah,
we've got spoilers for Hawkeye. We got Big Willie in the MCU as well. We've got some iconic villains. You can go street level. You can do Spider-Man versus the Kingpin. You can involve.
We can get Kraven.
Yeah, you can finally do that Kraven movie. You can do.
I think that was Kraven in the Rift.
Vampires, and there's all types of stuff you can do. Morbius.
We gotta talk about the Rift too. We gotta talk about the rift. What did y'all see when the rift got opened? Who did y'all
Kraven.
see?
Yeah,
Kraven.
the main thing I could really see was Kraven. Looked like a Kraven the Hunter outline. Looked like a proper like comic book Rhino. And like that's all I could
I
really
saw
see.
Cookie Cutter Rhino. Yeah, I saw Rhino. Somebody
I
said they saw
couldn't-
Scorpion and some shit. It was
I
really
couldn't make
quick
it out.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Sinister Four. Doc Ock wasn't.
If we're gonna talk about inconsistencies
say,
too,
yeah.
like they used an inconsistency just to put Jamie Foxx in the movie because the spell was everyone that knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. This nigga thought
Yeah.
Spider-Man was black. There's no way he knew that Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man. So he did not know who Peter Parker was. They even made a joke about it. So it was like, how did he even get portaled over? You ain't know who Spider-Man was? Like you just knew he was Spider-Man, but you didn't know he was Peter Parker.
No, I think. Well, oh yeah, you're right. He did not. He saw his face, but he did not know who Peter Parker was.
He met him separately. He met Peter Parker and then he met Spider-Man, but he didn't know he was Spider-Man.
Yeah,
which is why he made the joke. He's like, "You're poor, so I thought you would be black." And it's just like, then how the fuck did you even get over here?
He just assumed he'd be black. He could assumed he looked like Tekashi 6ix9ine, like another one. All right. What is
like everybody's like just gotta turn away from the mic really quick.
I'm on fire. I miss you guys. All right. All right. What else we got? What could have been? Because Sinister Four, they didn't have 6. I knew they did a quick flip. Because what were you saying, CJ? I remember you telling me something about what originally was supposed to happen in this movie.
I mean, from what I understood, it was going to be this was going to be the Kraven the Hunter movie, and he was going to be like hired because Spider-Man was the most wanted person, and he was going to hunt him down. So they hired Kraven the Hunter to bring in fugitive Spider-Man, and like that was the direction that they were going to go. But then Tom Holland pitched this crazier movie, and everyone was like, "Fuck yeah, let's see if let's offer a blank check to like Tobey Maguire." And apparently Willem Dafoe wanted to do his own stunts instead. He was like, "I'm willing to do it, but I gotta take the mask off. I don't want the Power Ranger helmet on. I want to be like jumping around doing shit at 66 years old." So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm with it." So we got this cool, crazy, ambitious multiverse crossover, and like I said, I'm cool with it. I would have been down to see that Kraven movie though. I mean, like straight up, which is why I said like, I mean, you may be able to do a smaller street level version of that, and like I'm down. I'm down for where they left it off. I like status quo Spider-Man where he's broke and he's down on his luck. He doesn't have Stark tech. That was the main complaint a lot of people had with this trilogy, where it's like he's starting with the training wheels on. Yeah, he's got Stark tech suits. Like he's already got irons. He's Iron Man. Like goddamn, like he's barely needs to use his spider powers because he got an Iron Man suit. But now it's like he's back in cloth. He's got the 616 classic comic suit, the blue and red, and he's just what I'm saying. Like this is OG Spider-Man. You can go anywhere from here.
I didn't like. My bad.
Go ahead.
Right. I was just gonna say I didn't like that suit bullshit that he did when he had the green goo on his suit and then he flips it inside out. I thought that was gonna be a whole like new like Stark Tech like black suit or something.
The whole time that's what it was.
Inside out. Yeah,
it was a Stark suit inside out.
Yeah, it was you didn't see the wires and shit. Yeah. It was a suit inside out.
Oh, yeah, you see him when he's taking it out. He like flips it inside out. Yeah, that's all it is. Just the tech suit inside out.
I didn't like that. I was so upset. I was
it made it look like one of my favorite suits from the comics, the one from the Nick Fury Secret War, where it's kind of like the black and it's got like a blue emblem.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a Doctor Strange suit from the trailers or whatever. I didn't know he just.
I think that's why they did that too, to differentiate when he had the strange little powers and stuff like that. So that technically is for merchandise purposes. That is the Doctor Strange suit, but yeah, practically in the movie, it's just him turning the suit inside out so they could sell more toys.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Funny enough though. Like I will say I agree with CJ. Like that is the part of the movie that I like the most is what they chose to do with this Spider-Man. That's why I feel like they listen to us the most, because even with all the cameos and whatnot, they chose to essentially reboot this Spider-Man without rebooting him, right? Like they're not, going to give us a new Spider-Man again, which we don't really need right now. Like it'd be nice. They know the only new Spider-Man we really want is Miles. If they rebooted him again, we would not be happy. We're pretty happy with this Tom. He's young enough to keep doing the role. That's the part that I'm most excited about. Like, you know, like what CJ says, I want to see a Kraven the Hunter movie. Now I want, you know, I'm the most excited to see a Kingpin movie. I'm excited to see the Spider Hunter movies. They can go anywhere with this from any continuum, and they could even incorporate Venom, which, you know, or the symbiotes, and from where they're going from here. And that's the part that I'm most excited about. This movie gave me hope.
All right.
It's also genius from a marketing standpoint from Sony, the way it ends too, because like you said, it is kind of a soft reboot and it disconnects Spider-Man from the MCU. So like he doesn't have to rely like you said, for this movie, Doctor Strange could have solved this whole fucking movie. And you're gonna run into that in like almost every movie when you deal with Spider-Man because he's more street level. So when he can call Black Panther or Iron Man or, you know, like Thor to come help him, it kind of like is kind of weird. So like Spider-Man being kind of more in his own separate corner, kind of like the X-Men, it makes more sense for Spider-Man, like keep him street level. That's why he's not usually on the Avengers and stuff like that. Spider-Man is usually still the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's a street level hero. So I like getting him back to street level, or his origin being from like he started as a big Avenger, but now he's actually the Spider-Man you know and love at street level. And like I said, from a marketing standpoint, if Sony doesn't want to keep working out deals with Marvel for the revenue sharing and all the rights and shit, they can keep Spider-Man in his Sony corner.
Just go home.
Yeah, and just have him mixed with Morbius or, you know, whatever properties they have. Or they can cut another deal with Marvel, you know, and have him play with the larger Marvel universe. But it gives them leverage to do either way.
They could really keep him for real. Like just have him, you know, like you said, play with all the Morbius and Venoms and stuff, you know, just go over there. Just go over there and do that.
I mean, they could still do a Kraven movie, right? Because they still own because Sony still owns the rights. So I mean,
yeah.
Why do they need Marvel for a Kraven movie? They just really rebooted. They just said, hey, Spider-Man, no one knows you anymore. So
they would fuck around and give Kraven his own movie.
They should. Like they could do Kraven's Last Hunt. Kraven's Last Hunt's one of the greatest Spider-Man comics, like in arcs, like do Kraven's Last Hunt. I mean, that'd be kind of dark. I mean, but I mean, you can try to make it PG-13.
Whatever. They said shit 4 times in this movie. All right. Let's talk about the spell versus the final spell. The final spell, I remember we were talking on the phone how this is confusing, the first spell versus the final spell, because they're very, very different. Now, how do y'all feel about the spells that they did cast, or Spider-Man actually going to Doctor Strange to do the first spell versus the final spell, which he made everybody forget about him or forget about Spider-Man? I forgot how it went, but yeah.
The first spell was he was just going to make everyone who knew that he was Spider-Man forget that he was Spider-Man, but they wouldn't forget him. They would just forget that he's Spider-Man. So like they would have all their memories of Peter Parker, but they would just lose the knowledge that he was Spider-Man, which is why I was saying earlier, that would just be a really easy solution. So that's why it's kind of dumb with him altering the spell over and over, because you could have just did the original spell and then just fucking told Mary Jane you're Spider. She figured it out anyway. She could have just figured it out again, or you could just tell her like, oh yeah, I'm Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Like your memory got wiped. Comic books, and boom, and like we're done. And like you don't have to keep altering this spell and be like, well, I need Aunt May to remember. Like, bitch, just tell Aunt May, dog. Like that's all you have to do is just have a conversation and be like, just like you did before. They're gonna find out again because you're an idiot. So like,
that's actually
so,
Peter's
like,
greatest weakness.
I did not like the spell, but like it was convenient to get the plot going. The second spell was more devastating because I said that's make everyone forget me. So like that's actually like said this movie surprisingly dark twist at the end where it's like that's horrific. Like you don't exist anymore. You become like a ghost. Like
now that's the question I have. So if everybody forgets that he exists, who is he? Because he's still Peter Parker.
Yeah,
right?
He's Peter Parker.
Not according to any records or anything. That's why he had to, in the end, he's even getting his GED because he can't go back to like, there's no record of Peter Parker anywhere. Like he said, no one knows him. Like that's even like, I think that's why they demonstrated the graveyard scene with Happy as someone who should like, is it going to break through? It's like, no, son, like no one knows this nigga anymore. He's even just like, oh, I met her through Spider-Man to kind of show you, to demonstrate like how the spell works. Like someone who knows him well, it's just like, I still remember Spider-Man, and I remember doing shit with Spider-Man, but like, wonder who the fuck that guy is. And it's
So
like,
Yeah.
I'm
Who the
curious
fuck
to
was that
see.
guy?
I'm curious to see how he can remind them, like, because he's obviously
not.
gonna.
He's not. Yeah, he's not.
He's
gonna-
not. He's not. That's just the end of it. He's starting a whole new life.
So no more Mary Jane.
I
Zendaya's
think
gone.
she might. Yeah, that's the only person. Maybe her and Ned, but like, I think for the greater world, yeah, I think most people.
Ned knows magic now. He can't just, you know, he's not gone.
Yeah,
He
they
knows
did it.
magic.
They
But Doc-
alluded that Ned might have more going on too. Like even Doctor Strange being like, "How did you do that?"
He straight up
Yeah.
opened a
Wait,
portal.
did Strange even ask? I think Strange.
Yeah, he
just-
did.
Yeah,
Oh.
he made a point where it's just like, like you were able to use that though. Like, okay,
Oh yeah.
it was like showing that he has some magical potential wizard. I don't think they're gonna make him the Hobgoblin, but you know, that's where he goes in the comics.
Hobgoblin. Interesting. All right. The Shang Chi Easter egg. Did anybody else catch it?
I was unaware. I didn't even
So-
see Shang-Chi.
I caught it, and I think when the scene where the gang they go to visit Doctor Strange and they walk in, you see to the left there were two people shoveling snow, and I think that was the couple from Shang-Chi that they were talking to at the table at the bar,
Mm,
and they was like, "Oh, you gotta get your life together." Woo, 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 woo. I think that was them because I looked at them, I was like, they look familiar. I could be wrong, but and where is Wong going this time? Because he's always stepping off every movie. He's always going somewhere, coming back from somewhere.
Well, apparently he's
He's
the
the-
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, man, he's got things to do.
yep.
Cage fights and bar karaoke and who knows? Like Wong's
Cleaning
apparently he's a busy man now.
Cleaning up Doctor Strange's mess.
But yeah, Avengers meetings. Yeah, like I mean,
So when was Shang-Chi? Before or after this?
I think that's
That is a
before.
good question.
I think that was before, and the only thing that happens after this is Hawkeye. Hawkeye happens after this.
Because I mean, if that's the case, then yeah. Sorcerer Supreme out here in cage fights.
Because he keep going in portals and coming back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
All right, so the last thing we have to talk about is the two post-credit scenes. Let's talk about the first one.
Terrible. I hate those Venom movies so much. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like
Now let me do some stress relieving here. So me being Venom being my favorite villain in MCU, I was hurt because I mean not in the MCU, but in Marvel, it's my favorite villain. I was hurt because you know you bring in Tom Hardy, who is a great actor, right? You bring him in, you make him canon. I'm gonna use canon from anime. I'm gonna use canon. You make him canon to the MCU, and then you take him out for a joke or a vehicle just to get the symbiote, just to be there at the bar. I understand that Tom Hardy was a good Venom or an anti-hero, but I still think you could have just did a heel turn. I still think he could have did a heel turn. What were you gonna say?
This was one that I understand why they did that, because they kind of wrote themselves into a logical corner that would have made no sense. Because first of all, the thing was everyone who knew who Peter Parker was or know who, you know, the identity of Spider-Man being Peter Parker, that's why they were all there. Venom had no reason to be there. There wasn't even a Peter Parker in his world, apparently. Well, there is, but he doesn't interface with him. Then as soon as he goes, it's like he has to go because he didn't even have a reason to be there. So on top of that, what reason would you even have to stay? You could say that he didn't know Peter Parker, but now we're like, well, why the fuck were you there?
He could have been the sixth member of the Sinister Six.
Why do you keep doing this?
What? He could have been a sixth member. He was there.
Please stop. Anyway,
What?
those two people in the beginning of Doctor Strange were not the Shang-Chi people in the bar.
They weren't.
No.
Mm-mm. I looked
Who
this
were
up.
they? They were just kids.
It was random people
Random
Sorcerers.
Asian people.
in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah.
Random Asian people. Jesus Christ. All right. He did leave behind a symbiote at the bar though. And
that also didn't make any sense.
So that would be one of his. That'd be one of his
kids. That he
drips.
I didn't know that Venom drips. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's something that happens.
I am kind of happy they sent Tom Hardy's ass back to wherever the fuck he came from. Because don't infect the MCU with this terrible character.
He's not terrible. Him. Okay, Tom. No, not Eddie Brock. That version of Eddie Brock is terrible. Tom Hardy is terrible.
They just made him a loser. Like you said, he literally could have been the sixth member of the Sinister Six, and they played it as a joke. They used his cameo to be like, "Yeah, you know who's a fucking loser? Eddie Brock. Like, you've showed me over 2 movies, he's a loser. I'm super incompetent." So he spent this whole movie sitting at a bar, getting drunk, getting explained about Thanos and shit, and then he just gets zapped away and leaves some symbiote behind. So we can do a black suit saga without his annoying ass version of Eddie Brock.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. What I don't agree with the whole Eddie Brock thing. I do like Tom Hardy's Venom, but I will say that I want Tom Hardy's Venom to stay in his particular universe, just because he works there. I want, I personally, I don't know if the same rules with symbiotes are going to apply here. With that one, turning into like a son of Venom, or maybe it will be a son, but it will be like Venom. But we do at least get to see, Peter interface with the Venom with his own, Eddie in his own universe, and just the symbiotes. It set it up that way perfectly for me.
What if there is no Eddie in his universe?
The way it was set up,
I might be upset.
In the trailer, in Venom 2, when Venom reacted to seeing Spider-Man on the TV or Peter Parker, like it was played up like they was going to have a confrontation. I was looking forward to a confrontation between Spider-Man and Venom, but
it was played up
I feel like that was. I think that was inserted to justify why he got zapped over there, because the line right before he gets zapped is like, "You're tapping into the hive mind of the symbiote," which implies that maybe his version of Venom is a hive mind with the Topher Grace, that 70s show version of Venom. And that could be a hive mind of why he knows who Peter Parker is, hence why he would be caught in that spell and brought to the MCU at that time, because he is the Venom symbiote, is the one who knows who Peter Parker is. So he would be dragged in the spell as one of his enemies. And then later on, he leaves, and then we have a symbiote here in the MCU that you can go a lot of ways with that. Like, say, you can do a proper Black Suit saga, and Tom Holland can do his own, and we can get like a reverse origin of get our Eddie Brock in the MCU, or they can do the Flash Thompson Venom. There's other people that have worn the symbiote. They've been Matt Gargan, the Venom, the Scorpion has worn the Venom symbiote. Like, especially if they're doing Dark Avengers. Matt Gargan was the Venom during Dark Avengers, and with US Agent and some of these other villains, they might be doing a
They
Dark
give it to Mary Jane.
Avengers.
Give it to Mary Jane. They go give it to Mary Jane, and she's gonna be in the other Thor movie. Boom. She's gonna fight alongside Jane.
That's a hell of a okay.
Women power.
All right.
Hey, yeah. All right. The second post-credit scene, we basically get the trailer for Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. How we feeling?
They continued on with What If.
Yeah, I don't know if it is, but it might be. Yeah, it looks like we have an evil Doctor Strange. I feel like it would be weird if it kind of wasn't, because it's just like, how many evil Doctor Stranges are we going to be introducing? Like, I feel like it would be kind of cool if they tied in What If. I'm not sure if they would do that if What If was popular enough, and they would have the balls to be like, yeah, you needed to watch What If to know what's up. But like, it looks cool. The tone of it. Sam Raimi's back. We're just talking about beloved Sam Raimi in his Spider-Man movies, but he is a horror director at heart. So like, this is right up his alley. It looks like to be a horror movie. I'm very worried for Wong. He looked like he was in a bad way in that trailer. It looked like could be my boy Shuma Gorath, or one of the Eldritch gods that we have there. So we got a little quick snippet of America Chavez, Miss America. So we'll see some dimensional portal hopping from her. And like you said, we got recruited. Wanda Maximoff is back in the mix as a hero or anti-hero or kind of partner in the mix. I mean,
and they did mention what she did at Westfield,
off Bucks, but apparently that's not why he's there to recruit her. She's just like, I know I did like war crimes, and he's like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but like,
hey, everybody does it.
Yeah, it's
Come
like,
on
hey,
with me.
I need your
You
help.
know,
Though.
and enslaving 1,000 people against their will and hiding their children in closets. Yeah, everybody does that shit. Yeah, genocide.
And she
A
was
common
dealing with
thing.
the dark hold and like dark magic at the end of WandaVision too. So like, we'll see. We'll see where that goes, but that looks like a real
Especially
unstable team you got there with Wanda, irresponsible Doctor Strange who nearly broke the universe for a teenager's MIT request, and
nah, man, it's gonna be
and dreaded
Mephisto.
Mordo.
Oh
Dreaded,
yeah, dreaded
dreaded
Mordo,
Mordo.
dreaded Mordo. Yeah, I mean, I am interested to see how it starts because I think it's going to be like straight. I think that movie's starting like timeline wise, is starting straight after this one because I noticed that the steps was water, like there was water on the steps versus it being snow on the steps in this movie. So what if that's the melted snow? I could be overthinking
Oh, that's
it.
actually really perceptive. I did notice that, and I didn't really think too much of that.
Yeah.
That could be, yeah.
So I'm thinking like this is just like the very next day of what happened after Doctor Strange did something very irresponsible and Wong shows up, curses him out, and then some other shit happens because he fucked the universe.
Well, they have a direct quote from the line that he had in this movie where he's talking about that, frighteningly little about the multiverse and things like that. So I think that's a good possibility that this movie does kick off shortly after Spider-Man, or this is some of the consequences from his spell in Spider-Man, where it's just like, hey, you fucked up some more stuff than you thought. You didn't just
Evil Doctor Strange knew that was Spider-Man, and then evil Doctor Strange popped up. He was like, "Hey, I like it here." And then when he was about to go back, he said, "Not today," and he stayed.
He basically moderated himself.
He moderated himself, and then that's how Multiverse of Madness starts.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, I forgot what the fuck I was about to say.
Good job.
I forgot what I was about to say. Any other notes from the movie? We did everything, I think.
Overall, I feel like this is cheating, but I'll say it anyway. I think the thing that makes me love this movie the most, I said it before, is the fact that they're setting it up for this Spider-Man to be everything that we actually want Spider-Man to be. I think, Sony is still trying to pull away. Disney's still trying to own some things, but either way, they know that their formula to success is going to be giving us what we want, and that's what I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, apparently we want Miles Morales. That's what we want.
Everything except a black man. Like that is honestly what they're on. They will give us everything except a black man.
I'd argue that Spider-Verse, a lot of people would argue that Spider-Verse might be, the best Spider-Man movie, and Miles Morales is the star of those wonderful animated movies that is getting a sequel, at least 2 more sequels. So I'm cool. Like, it's not like Miles isn't getting any love right now. So I'm cool.
But
you know what?
A black man being in a black suit, swinging around doing electric powers, and turning invisible would be dope on live action. It would be dope. I'd be interested.
He's easily the coolest Spider-Man. Like base level Spider-Man, he's easily the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
No cool Miles, no 10.
He'll get his live action due eventually. You know what I'm saying? Tom Holland's not going to do this forever, and I'm pretty sure Miles will probably be the next Spider-Man that they bring in now, since he's so popular now.
Yep.
Good.
All right. Is that all the notes, fellas?
Yes, sir.
I think it is.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on a new episode of Nerds Who Rock J's The Spider-Man No Way Home. Was it No Way Home? Far From Home? It's always home. No Way Home review. Now, make sure you subscribe. Find our podcast everywhere podcasts are available. Try our sponsor, Phenomenal Cocktails.com. I did it again. I always do it. phenomenalcocktails.com. Thank you for C-Jizzle live from Liberty Sizzle, aka Puffco Poppy, for Sith Lord, for Bubsy Wubsy, and LK the God. Thank you for joining us. Tell someone you love them. FSOD.